Welcome back to Firepower, where truth meets fire. Today's episode is going to rattle the gun world because we're ranking 7 major firearm brands from worst to best. Some of these names are icons that have defined American gun culture for decades, while others have fallen so far from grace that owning one could be a mistake you'll regret every time you pull the trigger. We're not here to praise or shame anyone without proof. We're here to expose the truth behind reputation, reliability, and performance. We've spent months collecting range data, real-world owner feedback, recall reports, and durability tests. We fired thousands of rounds, tore down dozens of guns, and documented every failure and success. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which gun brands to trust with your life and which to avoid at all costs. So load in, rack the slide, and get ready. Because what you're about to hear might make you rethink everything you thought you knew about your favorite brand. Before we dive into the countdown, here's how this ranking works. Every firearm brand was scored across 4 critical categories: reliability, safety record, aftermarket support, and long-term value. We didn't care about hype, aesthetics, or flashy marketing. We cared about what happens when things get dirty, when ammo is inconsistent, and when your gun has to work every single time. We also looked at data from recall histories, warranty claims, and field use by law enforcement, military, and civilian carriers. This isn't about fan loyalty. It's about survival. Let's start from the bottom of the list. At number 7, we have the so-called bargain blasters. You've seen them. The off-brand pistols at gun shows or tucked-in discount display cases priced just low enough to tempt beginners. They come from smaller manufacturers, often overseas, and promise everything for half the price. The reality? These guns are disasters waiting to happen. Their metal frames are made from cheap alloys that warp or crack after just a few hundred rounds. The triggers feel like grinding sand, and the safeties fail more often than you'd believe. We've even seen slides shear completely off under recoil, catastrophic failures that could have ended in tragedy. When you trust your life to a firearm, this kind of risk is unacceptable. There's no warranty support, no replacement parts, and no aftermarket upgrades. These guns are the definition of disposable, but your safety isn't disposable. If you want a budget gun, buy a used Ruger or Smith & Wesson instead. The extra $100 buys you peace of mind. Next up, at number 6, is Taurus, a name that sparks both fierce loyalty and sharp criticism. Taurus is known for affordability and innovation, often delivering features at half the cost of premium brands. But there's one problem that overshadows all that promise: inconsistent quality control. In 2015, Taurus faced one of the largest recalls in handgun history. Over 1 million pistols recalled for firing when dropped. That scandal shook the industry and left a permanent mark on the brand. We tested 3 modern Taurus pistols, including the G3C and TX22, and while accuracy was decent, reliability was hit or miss. 2 of the 3 had extractor and feeding issues within 250 rounds. That's not catastrophic, but it's not what you want from a carry gun. To their credit, Taurus has improved dramatically in the last few years. The new U.S. production line in Georgia is delivering better tolerances and cleaner finishes. But trust is hard to rebuild once it's broken. For now, Taurus remains a brand with potential, but not one we'd bet our lives on. Innovation and creativity have a name: Kel-Tec. For decades, Kel-Tec has built firearms that no one else dared to make. Folding rifles, ultralight carbines, compact pistols with unique engineering. On paper, they're visionaries. But in the real world, their execution is hit and miss. During our endurance test, the Kel-Tec Sub 2000 impressed us at first. It was light, fun, and surprisingly accurate. Until the charging handle bent after 400 rounds. The PMR-30 suffered feeding problems from its delicate magazine design, and several models struggled with durability when pushed past casual range use. That's Kel-Tec's story in a nutshell. Brilliant ideas with questionable follow-through. If you're a collector or tinkerer, their guns are exciting. But if you want a carry gun or a defensive weapon that has to work every time, look elsewhere. Kel-Tec leads in creativity, not reliability. This one hurts. Remington, once the pride of American manufacturing, has become a story of how mismanagement can destroy a legacy. For decades, the Remington Model 700 rifle and the 870 shotgun were the gold standard for hunters and law enforcement. But corporate greed, lawsuits, and repeated bankruptcies nearly ended that history. We tested two 870s, one from the early 2000s and one from 2020. The difference was night and day. The older model ran flawlessly. The newer one had rough machining, a sticky extractor, and inconsistent primer strikes after just 150 shells. The good news is that Remington has been reborn under new ownership. The new leadership has promised to restore quality and trust, and early production from their Ilion factory shows improvement. But for now, the brand's reputation still carries baggage. If you want a Remington, buy a pre-bankruptcy model. They're worth every penny. In third place, we have a tie, Springfield Armory and Walther. Both brands offer fantastic pistols, but each has its flaws. Springfield Armory's modern lineup, the Hellcat, Echelon, and XD series, shows remarkable progress in design and ergonomics. The Hellcat in particular rivals the SIG P365 as one of the best micro-compacts ever made. But Springfield's reputation took a hit after political controversies and uneven trigger quality across models. Their newer Echelon platform may restore their image, but not everyone has forgotten. Walther, on the other hand, is precision engineering at its finest. The PDP is a masterpiece in grip design, and their triggers are some of the best in the business. But the downside is limited aftermarket support and high cost of ownership. Parts and accessories are harder to find, and that limits appeal to everyday shooters. Both brands deliver excellence when it comes to handling and accuracy, but you pay for it. They're not perfect, but they're far from the bottom. Now we enter elite territory. At number 2, two giants stand side by side, Sig Sauer and FN Herstall. Sig has dominated both civilian and military markets with modularity and innovation. The P320 and P365 series changed the concealed carry game forever, but it hasn't been all glory. Early P320 models had reports of drop discharges that led to lawsuits and online controversy. SIG fixed the issue, but the scars remain. FN Herstall, meanwhile, is synonymous with durability and performance. The FN 509 and SCAR rifles are combat-proven and trusted by professionals worldwide. They're accurate, reliable, and built like tanks. But they're expensive. And for civilians, that price tag can be hard to justify. If you want military-grade reliability, both brands deliver. Just be ready to pay the premium for it. And finally, number 1, the king, the gun that refuses to die, Glock. Glock isn't pretty. It isn't glamorous, but it's the most battle-tested, duty-proven, and endlessly reliable pistol platform ever made. From police departments to special forces, Glocks have earned their place through simplicity, function, and resilience. We put a Glock 19 through a brutal 2,000-round test without cleaning, using mixed ammunition, and it ran flawlessly. No jams, no misfires, just smooth, consistent performance. The beauty of Glock lies in its practicality. It's not about emotion or nostalgia, it's about results. Parts are everywhere. Holsters fit every model, and maintenance takes minutes. If something breaks, it's a $20 fix. It might not win style points, but when your life is on the line, Glock delivers what matters most: certainty. Now let's talk about why this matters. Every gun brand on this list has stories behind the data. Stories of lawsuits, accidents, recalls, and reputations built or destroyed by real events. When Taurus recalled over 1 million handguns, it wasn't just about metal and springs, it was about trust lost. When Remington faced class action suits over accidental discharges, the consequences weren't financial, they were human. These aren't abstract numbers, these are lessons written in blood and experience, and that's why we take this so seriously. Firearms are not fashion accessories. They are life-saving tools, and when they fail, the cost isn't just disappointment. It's danger. If you're shopping for a gun in 2025, here's what you need to remember. Always research recall history before buying. Test your gun personally, at least 500 rounds before trusting it for carry. Check aftermarket support and availability of magazines, holsters, and parts. Never rely on reputation alone. Every manufacturer, even the best, produces lemons. What matters is consistency and accountability. How a brand responds when something goes wrong. If your gun fails, document it, report it, and don't settle for good enough. The right firearm is an investment in your safety, not a gamble. Let's bust a few myths. Myth 1. A cheap gun can protect you just as well as an expensive one. False. Cheap guns break when you need them most. Myth 2. A military gun is always superior for civilian defense. Wrong again. What works in combat doesn't always fit concealed carry. Myth 3. Reputation lasts forever. No, every brand's quality shifts over time. The only constant is performance under pressure. So ignore the hype. Focus on the facts. At the end of the day, the message is simple. Your firearm is only as trustworthy as the company that builds it. If that company cuts corners, ignores recalls, or hides defects, they don't deserve your trust. The best gun isn't the newest or the most expensive. It's the one that fires every time, with no excuses. This is firepower, where we test what others only talk about. Stay trained, stay smart, and stay armed with knowledge. If you found this breakdown useful, hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which brands you trust and which ones you'll never buy again. Because out here, truth hits harder than any bullet.